Now, in this video, I want us to talk about the most controversial subject matter called searches with regards to the Nigerian police and other security agencies existing in Nigeria. So let me ask you a simple question. Have you ever been walking on the road and traveling on your normal day, or maybe on a holiday or during December, and the Nigerian police stops you and starts searching you, and you definitely do not know what they are doing right and what they are not doing right? Yeah, of course. A lot of us have experienced that. That is why I am personally making this video to tell you all you need to know about searches, the most popular one they call stop and search, and any other type of searches that you may not even know that it exists in the Nigerian legal system. So sit back and let us rub minds together while we chew, we digest, and also nourish our consciousness with this controversial subject matter called searches with the Nigerian police. And yes, my name is still Shedrack of the Naija We Need, and today I'm just not going to take your time. But if this particular topic is a very broad something, it's a kind of like a broader topic. So we may take 30 minutes, we may take 45 minutes, depending. But trust me, if you do not learn anything I'm going to be teaching you today, please take me to court and sue my, suits. That aside. So what is searches? In a controversial way, and also according to the criminal justice system, searches is an act of discovering an evidence of crime. That is my own definition, and from the whole research I've made, because a lot of the essence of search is just to discover evidence of crime from the Nigerian police or maybe other government parastatals, okay? So we are going to be delving down and be discussing on the powers of the police to search, types of searches, how a Nigerian police should search, and then what you must do as a Nigerian citizen during those search of any kind, then your rights as a Nigerian citizen during search, and other government agencies that are involved in search that you may not even know about, you understand? And also how Nigerian police is meant to search, especially if they have search warrants, and the other $10,000 questions that we're going to be talking about in this video. So let's delve into this thing without wasting much time. Now let's go to the basic foundation. Search is an act to invade your privacy. And the Nigerian Constitution 1999, as amended 2024, Section 37 guarantees your fundamental human rights to privacy. And also Section 35 still even buttressed it more that during that your invasion of privacy, there must be need for personal liberty. At least you shouldn't be subject to inhuman treatment. You shouldn't be subject to abuse. You shouldn't be subject to torture and the rest of them. And we look at the Nigerian society today and the controversies going on in the internet and in real life, yeah? Nigerian police and other government agencies have infringed on this particular Section 35 due to the rights to your privacy and the power that are given to them to search. Now, the laws guiding Nigerian police and other government agencies and the power that, in fact, the laws that gave them the power. I wanted to, talk about the principal enactment, but it goes beyond the principal enactment. You need to know these specific laws and where those laws are being found. But the principal enactment of the Nigerian police powers to search is go to the Nigerian Constitution that are giving the power to maintain law and order in the society, Nigeria. Then you go to the Administration of Criminal Justice Act of 2015, you still see the procedural law where they gave the Nigerian police powers to conduct searches and what they ought to do and the guidelines and principles they ought to do during these searches. The same way we go to the Nigerian Police Act, this is where you get the enormous power, the humorous power of Nigerian police, a lot of them. And interestingly, if you want to look into searches completely, if you want to know how a Nigerian police should conduct himself during search, you should visit from Section 48 of the Police Act down to Section 59 or thereabouts, you understand? So from that from that axis, you definitely see everything you need to know about searches with the Nigerian police. Now, me going down to the specific laws and other enactments by the National Assembly, you can see the EFCC Act, you can see the NDLEA Act, you can see the ICPC, popularly known as ICPC. You can even see the National Security and Civil Defense Corps Act. These are individuals, even DSS. I think even CBN have their own particular powers whereby any kind of corruption going on in the country, these individuals can, have the power to order somebody to come for investigation and, if need be, searches. You understand? So these are various laws. Nigerian laws are plenty. Nigerian security agencies are plenty. Even in your state, you may even have one of those security parastatals that is being established by your governor. These individuals have an act that is guiding them. So you need to go and look into those particular acts and see the powers given to them. Or if there is no power existing, you encourage your National Assembly to define their limits of power. For instance, in Anambra State, there is this, I think they call it Agune Chamber. Anyway, I don't know the acts because I'm not from Anambra yet, but I'm going to still make the research and talk about it in the comment section. But at least they should have limits and their limits on how they operate as security agencies. So let's go away from this principal enactment. Like I told you, searches is meant to discover evidence of crime. Now let's get to what are the powers of the Nigerian police with regards to searches. Now the Nigerian police have the power and authority to search you any day, but with due regards to any time. They cannot just search you anytime, but the law may permit for them to search you at any time, depending on the search warrant and the rest of them. Now, we have the Police Act. The powers rested on the Nigerian police via the Police Act is a very big one. They have the power to search on any kind of evidence. It's not just one evidence. It may not just be drug evidence. It may not just be contraband evidence. They are like all-rounders, the Nigerian police. Now, if you go to the EFCC, I hope you just know the meaning of these individuals I'm talking about. EFCC, Economic Financial Crime Commission. Okay, they have their Act of 2004, yeah? They have the power to do what? To investigate crime relating to economic and finance related offenses. Okay, so this is where if you embezzle funds, if you are a fraudster, anything relating to money, economics of the country, stock and the rest of them, EFCC have the power to do what? Search you and also arrest you and detain you and investigate. So during this investigation, searches must happen. The same thing occurs in NDLEA, that is the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. They have their own acts, I think 2023 or so. I may be wrong, but I'm going to still confirm it on this video. Now they are given the power to intersect drug abuse. These are specific functions. Now let's just go away from these powers of the Nigerian police to search, and let's get to the main dish of what are the types of searches. Now we have three types of searches. I am so sorry that I'm meant to be putting up my slides. I think I have slides anyway. Types of searches. Good. Now we have three types of searches. Yeah, we have search of a person, we have search of a thing, and we have search of a premise or your homes. The premise is a big language. Your home, your warehouses, your cargo. All those places that can be able to confine something. That's kind of search. Okay. Now the popular stop and search that you get on your road whenever you're traveling, it falls under two kind of searches, which is search of a person and also search of a thing. That is what you get on your normal roadblock. Now, these two types of searches does not require search warrants by the Nigerian police or Nigerian security agencies to acquire before they can execute this kind of search. But let's just take it one after the other, okay? What are search of a person? Search of a person is a bodily contact. This requires me touching your body to know whether you are hiding any evidence of crime, okay, or any illegal substance, okay. Maybe I'm wearing a clothes, anything attached to my body, the Nigerian police searches it. That is search of a person, okay. Search of a person may even go further into medical examination. Maybe I feel like I've swallowed a hard drugs. These are most common with the NDLEA. They will run a test on you and find that particular evidence. If they're going to operate on you, they operate on you and bring it out. So that is search of a person. But now, Section 35 of this same constitution, of our Nigerian constitution, still says that this search must be done with due decency. If a man is searching a man shouldn't be harassing the person. He's not meant to abuse the person. He's not meant to torture him during that search, because most individuals may just, while they're searching you, they tell you, are you sure you're not a Yahoo boy? Are you a Yahoo boy? You know, the Nigerian law system says no. When you're searching, you must search with due decency and with professional regards. Okay, that is the Nigerian law, and that is about search of a person. But before I continue, a Nigerian male police officer cannot search a lady. Okay, so if you're a lady watching this video, any day a Nigerian police officer says he wants to search your body, please refuse. In fact, vehemently stand on your right and say, Nigerian police officer, you can't search me. Go and get a female police officer or woman police, according to they call them. Okay, so it must be, the search must be search of the same gender. A man must search a man. A woman must search a woman. This is the law. Even in the north, there is no exception. In the northern part of Nigeria, there is no exception. But somehow in the act, and in Nigerian, I think southern Nigeria, there are some circumstances whereby an opposite gender can search that same opposite gender. But it's just a very few circumstances whereby if the urgency of the administration of due justice is required at that particular point, then a male officer can search a female. In person, I'm talking about in person, okay? That is the only exception. But in the north, it must be a man, it must be a woman searching a woman, and man searching a man. Now, let us leave search of a person. I hope you're understanding this. Now, we get into search of a thing. Now, I would like to define thing as something that is capable of concealing another thing. Okay? So, what are those somethings that are capable of concealing another thing? You have your bags, you have your box, you have your car, you have various things, anything, maybe cooler, you have, so long as it's able to conceal another thing, something except your body, that thing is your thing. Now, the Nigerian police do not need search warrant, as I said, to search a thing, okay? Let's go to search of a thing. A search of a thing, yeah. So, they don't need search warrants to do that. Now, during search of a thing, a Nigerian male police officer can search your thing, whether regardless to your gender. If a woman, you feel violated that a male police officer is searching your purse or you're searching your bag, he's still on his duty. He's still on his right, but he cannot search your body, okay? Now, search of a thing, now, they don't need it. They don't need a search warrant to search your thing. But it's still what we do regards to what professional decency and conduct. Now, because I've described a thing as something that is capable of concealing another thing, a phone can qualify as a thing. But the Nigerian laws and other judicial system, both legislative, the executive, and judiciary, has condemned the Nigerian police officer and other law enforcement agencies. It's not just Nigerian police officers. Whatever parastatal you are, you cannot search a phone without a search warrant, because phone contains a lot of information that is more deep than privacy. You understand? Most individuals use their phones as office. So for a Nigerian police officer to search a phone, he must go with what? A search warrant, a valid court order. There is no exception about that. There must be a valid court order. So any day the Nigerian police officer doing a stop and search searches your phone and you have another phone to video and record that police officer, and you've gotten information that you need to get, forward the complaint. A lot of police officers have been, de-uniformed, if that language exists. A lot of them have been disciplined because of this particular phone issue. And most Nigerian police officers still doesn't want to know that this phone searching of a thing is a very big issue, and do not even allow the Nigerian police to search your phone. When I say do not allow the Nigerian police to search your phone, is they may say there is a cybercrime act going on now, that young Nigerians are wearing things that they are not meant to wear, are using phones that are not meant to use, and the rest of them. And we are obligated to know whether he is truly rightful in his source of income. Say no, okay, for him to get a search warrant. They may try to shake you, right, but still maintain your ground that these individuals will not do what? Search you. And if they detain you, demand that they take you to court within 24 hours or 48 hours or thereabouts. If you are patient with these laws, the law will reward you, and you definitely seek damages very, very well. But if you allow yourself to let them search your phone, that is the fastest way to do what? To implicate that police officer. Find another phone and record that individual, forward it on Twitter, and that is the end. Now let's get into the most controversial next kind of search, which is search of your premise, your home, your cargo, your warehouse, your shops, your house. Before I started this video, I didn't mention something. Search will still come to your house any day, anytime. You believe that this video is not for you, that it's meant for lawyers to watch. Searches must still come to your doorstep, whether you like it or not. Is either you are traveling back to your home during Christmas, you definitely experience search. You may even stay at home and believe that you don't have any business with Nigerian government, nobody ought to come and search you. The search will still come to your doorstep. It may not even be you directly. It may be somebody that is running away somewhere, and then they're required to search your particular premise. You don't need to go and ask the Nigerian police, where is your search warrant? You definitely know that some places you have to ask for search warrants, and some places you don't need to search warrants after watching this video. Do you understand? I'm trying as much as I can to make it more interactive so that you and I can put down something in our brain, okay? Coming to this, our search of premise. Search of premise requires search warrants. Just like I have mentioned in my previous video, forms of arrest. We have arrest with warrant and arrest without warrant. The same way, forms of searches, search with warrant and searches without warrant. Now, in search of premise, you do not, the Nigerian police cannot just wake up one day in the morning and search your premise without being equipped with search warrant. Okay, so there must be a search warrant to come to for the Nigerian police or any security agency to knock on your doorstep and say, we want to search your place. We have an information that there is an illegal item, held in your compound. We would like to search, or maybe some illegal activities is going on here. We would like to search and see whether we have seen, all those kind of things. Now, for a search of premise to happen, like I said in the search warrant, the search warrants must be issued by a judge, a magistrate, and a justice of peace. In the last video I made, which is arrest, it is only the judge, magistrate, and National Assembly. Now, the law have already now included in search warrants a justice of peace. Justice of peace is usually seen in the northern side of Nigeria, okay? So once a judge, magistrate, or justice of peace issues that search warrant describing the name of your building or your kind of building, and also stating the item they need to search and find, then you know that search warrant is valid, okay? So it must be issued by these individuals that I talked about. Now let's talk about the most controversial. Like I'm still saying, it's controversial because everything about it is a problem. What are the time for the Nigerian police or other security agencies? What are the time frame these individuals are meant to execute a search with search warrants? Now, most people argue that Nigerian police can come any day at any time. Most people argue that Nigerian police does not need anybody's requirements or any permission to search your house. Even if it's 12 midnight, they can come and search your house, These things are unlawful. After I'm revealing these things to you, you just mark it. If you mark it, anybody that comes to your doorstep, you definitely ask him some specific questions after you've learned this particular thing. Now, the Administration of Criminal Justice Act of 2015, that is the federal law, it does not specify a time frame where a Nigerian police officer can execute a search warrant. But the law still says that a Nigerian police officer can execute a search warrant any day, anytime, including public holiday, your Christmas, your New Year, your Ramadan, or whatsoever. They can do what? Conduct that search. But now, most advanced states in this country, most advanced, I don't know, because I believe that there are some states that have not adopted time frame yet. But I don't know why they have not adopted a time frame. But I wish and encourage them to adopt time frame so that we can avoid unprofessionalism from the Nigerian police and other security agencies. Now, like I'm saying, most advanced states like Lagos, Enugu State, Anambra State, why they are saying this time, why they are mentioning the time frame that it can be any day, any time, public holiday and the rest of them, they still went further and mentioned that time for search must be within the hour of 5 a.m. in the morning till 8 p.m. in the night. So if the police officer no come by 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 till 8 p.m. in the night, that search they can't come again. That is 5 to what? To 8. But now in a situation that this individual have come like over 2 times, 3 times, and you as the resident owner is not always around, that you usually come back around 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night, the law still requires that same particular individuals who are meant to search to go back to the issuing authority to get a special permission to go to search beyond that required time of the law. This law did not state the police officer who is meant to search may use within 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. No, it said it shall. So if you know the difference between may and shall, you know that is a mandatory requirement for the Nigerian police to follow up. Now, let's take, for instance, this live case of Anambra State that happened sometimes 2 years ago. I think 1 year ago anyway. An EFCC agent, sometime in the middle of the night, around 1 o'clock in the night, 12 o'clock midnight, somebody is jumping inside your fence. And with the guise of being an EFCC officer to do what? To search your premise. Now, since the existing Anambra law is already there, that it said you must come via search warrant, and also you must come at the right time. This individual jumped into this particular person's fence, and the house owner, owning a licensed gun, sent the officer to his maker. At least this is kind of like a very good form of self-defense. Okay, because if the Nigerian police were even meant to come to your place, they must first of all knock on your house, at least to try the access of ingress, that is entry. But the situation whereby they did not even try, they have to sneak in like armed robbers, and the house owner, having the rights to self-defense, defended himself. This individual came at the odd hour, and I still believe that these individuals did not even have a search warrant to search that particular place. So these are where the law, the advanced states in Nigeria have frowned at Nigerian police officers and say, do not go at any time you like. You must follow the law, okay? That is why I'm saying 5 a.m. in the morning till 8 p.m. in the evening. Go to your, wherever you are watching from, Jos, Kaduna, and the rest of them. Go to your administration of criminal justice laws of your state and see where the particular time frame, and promote it so that Nigerian police will still know this. Most of them don't know this. They just follow them and go for the operation and come back. You understand? So let us leave that particular place and then move on. Okay, we are done with search of a premise with search warrants. Now let's go to the exception. We have general exception on searches of premise. Just like every other rules, there is always exception. These are the circumstances whereby search warrant is not needed to search your premise particularly. Number one, if a judge or a magistrate or a justice of peace is present in your building or maybe your warehouse and require that they search that place, he's the working authority already. So you don't need to ask those individuals, go back and go and get court order. No, they are the courts himself. So they can search. And once they search, anything they find is valid, is a lawful search. Then number two is where a court or there is an executive order for the Nigerian security agencies to go and rescue a kidnapped victim from a particular building or maybe a particular location. Those security agencies do not get a search warrant to search that place. So the order is already covering whatever activities that are going to do at that particular place. Then the third one is where a suspect who is in a lawful custody or who is being lawfully arrested runs away or escapes and enter into another building. You understand? The Nigerian police officer or the individuals who are chasing them does not need a search warrant to search that building. So if a suspect is running inside your block of flats or 50 flats, and the Nigerian police wishes that they want to search every room, nook and cranny, they will search it without warrants. They don't need to go to court and get a search warrant. They'll just search it with the aim of what? Finding that particular victim. You have seen where these exceptions are coming into, right? Now let's go to the specific agencies who are empowered with the power to search without warrants in a specific function and in a specific case. Let's start with the NDLEA. That's the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. These individuals do not need search warrants to invade or raid any premise that is suspected or there is an information that an illegal substance, that is drug, or a particular land is growing illegal substance. They don't need a search warrant to get into that particular premise to seize those properties with or without warrant. So that is the job of the NDLEA. The same thing applies to the EFCC, that's the Economic, Financial and Crime Commission. These individuals do not need search warrants to enter a building whereby individuals like fraudsters are kind of like operating. They just get into there based on information. They don't really need search warrants. Then it come about the Nigerian Custom and Exercise Management. These individuals, once there is contraband, they say a warehouse is having a contraband. Custom do not need search warrants to invade that place and recover the item of crime. The same thing also applies to the NSDC, which is NSDC, I think, the Nigerian Security Civil Defense Corps. These are the individuals charged with protection of government property. So any item of vandalization that a premise, there is an information that a premise is holding, the Civil Defense Corps can just move in there without search warrants and recover those items. Then other law enforcement agencies, which there are numerous of them, very, very numerous of them, DSS and the rest of them. All these things depend on their subject matter. And most of these security agencies being established, they give them a specific power, the same power given to the Nigerian police. But now the $10,000 question in this particular searches without warrants is, do these security agencies conduct this search without warrants with utmost professionalism and also with regards to Section 35 of the 1999 Constitution as amended 2024? Now we have looked at the various circumstances, real life scenarios whereby the EFCC, for instance, gets into individual places and messes people up, not just their property, their person in person, you know. You get to a point whereby Nigerian police act like terrorists, whereby conducting searches without warrants. The Nigerian law states that these individuals some laws, this is kind of like being biased, they say these individuals may have regards to the constitutional right, that is due regards to Section 35 of the Nigerian Constitution. The word may at this point kind of like it's like an imbalance in the judicial system, which is it's a sign of discretion. But there are some laws that mandates them to have regards to Section 35 of the Nigerian Constitution, which is your right to personal liberty. Okay. Now the point here I'm saying that is the Nigerian police and most Nigerian law enforcement agencies do not regard the Section 35 of the 1999 Constitution, which is your right to personal liberty, right against torture and the rest of them. Imo State youths have been complaining that the police officers during search, they even subject them to abuse. The same thing applies to some individuals during stop and search. Before a police officer could halt your vehicle, he's already cocking gun. These things are just kind of like threats to life and also threats to human dignity in person. Then let us get away from this searches without warrants. Now let's move on to how can a police officer and when can a police officer search you? Now, like I've mentioned, the Nigerian police officer can search you when he's equipped with search warrants, okay? And also, he can also search you when he has a reasonable suspicion. So there are two grounds. These agencies I mentioned, EFCC and the rest of them, all these people works on reasonable suspicion and based on information and sometimes petition, okay? Sorry. The reasonable suspicion I'm talking about here is that I really don't want to go further into it, but you should understand that when somebody is doing something that is out of the ordinary, you feel like you definitely have to be suspicious about that person, especially if that person's behavior wasn't that same way, you understand? Or maybe somebody's activities is not the same way it's normally, meant to be. You should be reasonably, at least you should be suspicious, right? So that is the same thing that applies to the Nigerian police. But what I am very interested in to teach you in this particular video, and also to discuss with you, is Section 54 of the Nigerian Police Act of 2020. Definitely, as I just said, that if you have your Police Act of 2020, you could just go ahead and read that Section 54. And most police officers, I believe, they don't know about this Section 54 of the Nigerian Police Act. Now, this Section 54 of the Nigerian Police Act stated the grounds that cannot be reasonable suspicion. Most police officers have this defense that I think I suspected that he might have a gun in his boots, so I searched him. You understand? The next car that comes, he suspects that he has a Igbo in his. You understand? So that cannot amount to what reasonable suspicion after I've explained Section 54 of the Nigerian Police Act to you. Now the law says that these grounds shall not be. It did not say may not be or might not be. It says shall not be a ground for reasonable suspicion. And remember, like what I said, reasonable suspicion leads to what? Searches. Okay. Number one, a police officer cannot claim to be reasonably suspicious about a person based on his age, number one, his hairstyle, number two, his hair color, number three, and also his dressing, the way he dresses. Age, hairstyle, hair color, the manner of dress. So if I dress like a flamingo, I dress maybe in a style of Saudi Arabians, Nigerian police automatically should not look at me and say, he's dressing so weird, like an Arabic man. Okay, I want to search him. He may look like a Yahoo boy. The common instance everywhere that we know in Nigeria is that when a Nigerian youth kind of like buy a good clothes, good shoes, and the rest of them, Nigerian police automatically stops them and search them. And then when you ask the Nigerian police, he says he's reasonably suspicious because he's wearing something expensive. Where did he get those things from? The Nigerian Police Act frowned at it. He said it must not be. Let me give you a life case. A life case somewhere in Surulere, around 2023. There was this young guy, a barber. He keeps hair a lot, right? Now he was walking towards the street, and Nigerian police, during their patrol vehicle, found this young individual and then stopped him and told him that, "Oga, you look, in fact, you are a Yahoo boy, do transfer." The guy transferred money, and he sued the Nigerian police officers, those individuals, and he claimed damage of 5 million naira. This is a real life case. You can go ahead and check it up on your Google, right? The law says that is wrong, that amounts to what we call fishing expedition. I'm going to explain that fishing expedition. Then number two grounds on that same Section 54 of the Nigerian Police Act 2020, it says that the Nigerian police officer cannot be said to be reasonable in his suspicion when a person who has been convicted previously and he already served his term in a correctional center and he has been released back to the society, the Nigerian police officer would not probably judge him based on because he have already been caught one time with illegal substance, and then they believe that even if he comes out from the correctional center is what we call prison. That was previously, but it's now correctional center. Now, when police officer says, "Hey, this criminal that went to prison," the law says no. Okay, you can't just because of that grounds you go ahead and search him. Any day you see him walking on the road, maybe he's walking in his own street, or maybe he's staying in his own house, you just raid his house. The law strictly says wrong. It's no. That a person who has served his term judiciously and legally at least must be recognized in the society that he has served his term. Okay, so Nigerian police cannot say that is a reasonable suspicion because they have committed a crime before. If you are in that scenario and the police officer does that, go ahead and sue that police officer or report that police officer to the appropriate authority. Then the number 3 point, A Nigerian police officer cannot say that he's reasonably suspicious about a person based on stereotype or profiling based on young age or a particular race or a particular ethnic society. So this one is just like stereotypically, like it's more like a stereotype. Maybe, okay, let's use the recent happening in the country, the Fulani bandits. Okay, now we are hearing about terrorists, Fulani bandits, and the rest of them. Now somebody comes down in the southeast and then look at a Fulani and be like, these people that are terrorists. That's stereotyping already. So and then it's worse when it comes to a particular police officer. And also herdsmen. Yes, maybe herdsmen is doing this somewhere, and then you believe that all herdsmen are the same. So it's just you being judging based on stereotype. The law forbids you on that. For another instance, Igbo. You are Igbo. They say always Igbo individuals used to do this, used to do that, or you're searching. The law says no. Another instance again is what? You're a Nigerian youth and maybe you are carrying laptop, or maybe you are into tech. Okay, automatically, because you're a Nigerian youth and you are inside one bus, maybe 7 Nigerian youths are inside one bus, Nigerian police automatically calls them customer of what? Crime, and then tell them, come down, I want to search you because you are what? Youth. The law says that is wrong, and the Nigerian police officer who is conducting a stop and search must avoid this as much as possible. Now, to the Nigerian police officer who is watching this particular video, the law also demands and requires of you that there are sometimes as you are conducting your stop and search, there are some searches that are unnecessary. When I say unnecessary, is maybe this particular individual is carrying a dreadlocks on the head. The first thing you are meant to ask him probably is, hello, young man, why are you carrying this hair? It's the first question. If that person's explanation is good enough for you not to search him, you go ahead and listen to the explanation. If the explanation is good, you let him go. And then if the explanation is not good, you can go ahead and do what? Search him. This same thing applies to every other thing. Maybe why is your eyes red? Do you have a medical condition? These are things you ought to do as a police officer before you can conduct a search. I'm just talking about generally during stop and search of a person and also 18. Okay, you as a Nigerian citizen that is watching right now, I'm done with Nigerian police anyway. Now, the Nigerian citizen, you that is watching, go ahead and equip yourself with that section 54, that any day Nigerian police officer comes in and you feel like these particular officers are searching you based on these 3 grounds that I mentioned. Number 1, based on your age, hair color, your hairstyle, or your dressing. The Nigerian police officer cannot say it's reasonably suspicious to search you. Number 2 is you have been previously convicted of a crime and also you have served your term and you are out back in the society. The Nigerian police cannot say it's a ground to search you any day at any time. Then the number 3 one is the Nigerian police cannot be reasonable at this point, searching based on stereotype, profiling youths, elderly persons, maybe a particular race, and the rest of them. I hope you understand what I'm saying here. These are the things you must equip yourself with while questioning the police at any day, anytime. Now, let's get to before we get to your right as a Nigerian citizen during search. What must a police officer and how must a police officer conduct himself during searches, especially in stop and search? Okay, the law requires the Nigerian police officer who elects to conduct search or make investigation any particular day, that police officer must, number 1, be in a recognized police uniform. Recognized police uniform with his badge name, with his name boldly written in his badge. Okay, now if the Nigerian police officer does not want to wear a uniform, he may choose to wear another uniform, but he must wear his identity card showing that he's a police officer. Now, as a Nigerian police officer, he is a public servant, and you, a traveler, the law allows you to question that Nigerian police officer who is a public officer. You can go ahead and say, I want to see your badge. What is your badge number? Or what is your name? I need to see your badge. Okay. If the person's name is not on his badge, you can go ahead and still also say, I want to see your ID card. I want to know who you are. Okay. That is in the case whereby the Nigerian police officer did not identify himself. So you have the power, you have the right as a Nigerian citizen to question a Nigerian police officer who is about to what? To search you. Okay. Now, the second point that what a Nigerian police officer is mandated to do is that once he's about to search you, search of any type, he will state his name. He will state his police division, and also he will state his rank. And also now he will now state the reason why he's searching you and what he's looking for. These are the processes. I know most individuals in Nigeria, we want everything to be sharp. Let us not allow sharpness, put us into trouble. If we follow this particular law, we will be patient with the Nigerian police. First of all, Nigerian police comes to you. Be like, okay, what is your name, sir? You have to state his name. He won't state his name if you don't ask of it. Okay, even the law demands him that he should do so, right? Once you have this information, you'll be able to do what? Commend that police officer or condemn that police officer or that particular police unit. You understand? So that is what is required of the Nigerian police officer during search. He must do what? He must be on a recognized Nigerian police uniform. If he's not on a recognized Nigerian police uniform, decently dressed though, then he must be on his ID card, which spells out his name, unit, and the rest of them. Then before he's about to search you, he must state his name, his rank, his division, and also the reason why he wants to search you. These things are what must be in play before a search could be conducted, whether you are traveling on the road and the rest of them. I hope you're understanding me, right? Now let's move to your rights as a Nigerian citizen during what? Police search of any kind. Number one, you have the right to be searched decently, with all due decency. Okay, that is your right. Remember, we are talking about Section 35 of the 1999 Constitution, whereby you have your personal liberty, right to personal liberty, shall not be subject to inhuman treatment, abuse, and the rest of them. So you have the right to do what? To be searched decently. Now, also, you have the right to demand from the Nigerian police officer what he is actually looking for. If you ask the Nigerian police officer this particular question, he is meant to give you information on what he's looking for. If not, he's simply doing what we call fishing expedition. Then also, you also have the right to observe and also participate during that search. For instance, you're in a stop and search, and they want to search your car. My friend, if you just elect to stay in the car or stay far away and allow the Nigerian police officer to go behind the boot when you cannot visualize it, you're not participating in that search, because any evidence they find, any evidence of crime they find in your possession automatically implicates you. All your travel, all your plans stops immediately, and it's you and the Nigerian police officer or the Nigerian police itself, and then the court and maybe the correctional center. Now, as you have the right to observe the search, you also have the right to record a Nigerian police officer during a search. That is when he's on his lawful duty. Okay, lawful and unlawful duty. Okay, anyone, you have the right to do what? Get your own video recording. Nigerian police recently, thankfully, they have an advanced technology whereby they have cameras on their cars. I think in Enugu have cameras on their cars. These individuals are collecting evidence to be able to prosecute you in case they find an element of crime with you, right? Then also, you also in the court, you need to do what? Defend yourself. So you need to have your own evidence. That is why you need to use your your cell phone and record at a safe distance while that Nigerian police officer is not is conducting. So there are some things your eyes may not see at that particular time, but your camera already caught it. So I advise that due to the harshness of most Nigerian police officers, maybe they will feel intimidated that you are recording them, especially those individuals that wants to feel like gods. You can go ahead and get more of a hidden camera. The law allows it because you are already finding your own evidence to defend yourself in case the Nigerian police officers allege that you have done what? You have committed a crime during that search. So that's your right. Then also you have the right informed. That is, like I've said, the Nigerian police ought to tell you his name, the rank, and the rest of them, and which police station he's going to. You understand? Now let's get to the right of the Nigerian police officer during his search, conducting search. Okay, the Nigerian police officer have the right of ingress and egress. Ingress and egress means right of entry and right of exit. This is in the case of search of premise. Okay, that is where a Nigerian police officer wants to enter a building. You must allow him enter that building, and at the same time allow him to exit when he's either lawfully or unlawfully. When he's unlawfully, you can go ahead and establish that this particular search was unlawful. Okay, so these are the rights and other numerous rights that you have. So now let's delve into what you must do and how to conduct yourself during Nigerian police search. Number one thing you must avoid, and also number one thing you still must do during Nigerian police search, you must remain calm. You must remain calculated. You must remain attentive, and then you be sharp. That is the number one thing you must do. Be calm, be polite with the Nigerian police, and also do what? Demand for your rights in a very polite manner and a professional way. For instance, a Nigerian police officer steps you down from maybe your boss, a public vehicle, and then starts searching your bag just like that. You can simply ask him the question, "Officer, what are you looking for?" It is not a wrong. There is no wrong question there. Then also the next thing you have to do and also avoid when Nigerian police is searching you, both lawfully and unlawfully, is that you do not need to start dragging with the Nigerian police. You can't engage into physical or verbal abuse with the Nigerian police, especially dragging your items. Maybe officer wants to search your bag and you are dragging your bag with the Nigerian police officer. It will escalate matters and things may even get worse. Okay, maybe you don't even have anything in those belongings, but for the fact that you are dragging items with the Nigerian police officer during whether unlawful or lawful, Nigerian police officer will now say that you are obstructing a public officer conducting his duty. So he may escalate it to other things. The next thing you have to do, and whenever the Nigerian police officer is searching you, is that you need to take note of those police officers searching you. You need to know their faces. If you don't have retentive memory and you have a jotter with you during that search, you go ahead and write down the name of the individuals, especially if they tell you their names or if they are unlawful, okay, whereby they are feeling like gods on their own. I'm talking to you, my citizen, right? You can go ahead and copy their plate number or memorize the plate number of that particular patrol vehicle operating that particular day, so that anything that happens, you know how to tackle that particular situation and where to lay your complaints to directly. So you need to know their faces. You need to take notes on what the Nigerian police officers are doing. Then in case of an unlawful search where a Nigerian police officer is feeling like a god on himself, allow the person. Don't argue with them. Just allow the person take notes of those things that Nigerian police officer have infringed on you. You go ahead and report them to our appropriate channels. Now, appropriate channels I'm talking about here is the best place I could advise you to report a Nigerian police officer, especially if you are on social media. If you don't know any other place you can lay a complaint, is X, the former social media called Twitter. These are the places where government agencies are in Nigeria. This is where you talk. Nigerian police officers and Nigerian police government headquarters will listen to you. Any form of abuse that gets to your doorstep and you capture it on a tape, or you have good details and information about this thing, write it up, share it to individuals on X. Yeah, there are a lot of individuals that will repost those things. If you tag us, the Naija we need, we help you repost and also escalate the matter. Okay, so that is it for things you must do and must avoid during searches of any kind. We are getting to the end of this video. Okay, I mean, it's almost getting to the end. Now let's get to search of a premise. How is it conducted and what must be done? Like I told you, search of a premise, the search warrant must come by way of an issuing authority, by judge, magistrate, or justice of peace. Now, when this search warrant is valid, which describes your building, the date is good, and the rest of them, remember, search warrant does not expire till the issuing authority cancels it or is executed. When they present it to you, the house owner, and you go through the search warrant and you feel like, okay, this particular building is what they are talking about, and the search warrant states that it's meant to recover so thing in your premise, okay, you go ahead and politely accept them inside the house, but do not let them search immediately. Okay, now the law mandates you and also requires you to get your witnesses. Provide 2 witnesses. Go ahead to your neighbor. If you are living in a flat estate, call your neighbors, call somebody that you know, elderly people, or someone that is at least that has a corporate person, to come and witness the search. Okay, you as the premise owner. Now, in case you are living in a public yard, the law allows even all your flat tenants, in fact all your neighbors, to come and witness the search. The law does not rob off other individuals to witness that particular search. And also is even conventional by the court and the individuals that gives out this particular search warrant, for them to bring their own 2 witnesses that will bear witness for the prosecution in case they find an evidence of crime in your premise. Now, we have talked about the witnesses, right? Now, during the search, before the search, it is also conventional that the person or the persons who are meant to conduct that search in your premise must also be what? Searched. So if they are saying that they want to discover shell, like ammunitions in your premise, you first of all make sure that these individuals are not wearing any ammunitions on their body before they can search. So if you can insist very well and demand that these individuals be searched by a neutral party, they'll go ahead and search them before they proceed on those particular searches. Now, during the search, you have also your right to observe or what they are doing, the activities of the search. That is where the witnesses are observing the whole thing. After that, and once they are done with the search, then any item they discover from your premise, it must be recorded at that particular place. It must be recorded. At least put an inventory that they discovered something, and you will sign it. You must sign it. If you don't sign it, it means that they may go elsewhere and add other things that you don't even know about. Okay, so it's very necessary that you allow them to search, and once they are done searching, they must put an entry of items they discover and you sign them, so that they won't fabricate other more elements of crime or evidences of crime which you cannot explain how it came about. Okay, so that is it for search. And remember, you must give those police officers who are searching those premises the right of ingress and right of egress, entry and exit. I'm getting to the end, but before then, let's talk about fishing expedition. It says that in police context, fishing expedition is whereby Nigerian police officers search with the hope to discover an evidence of crime. The law have frowned at these things. The law says don't search based on fishing expedition, because automatically you are breaching section 54 of your police act. So for the fact that 100 Nigerian youths passed along this particular road, the Nigerian police officers searched all those 100 Nigerian youths. That is fishing expedition. And also, fishing expeditions can still be where they ask unnecessary questions. Questions that are not necessary. They just want to, ask unnecessary questions in order to unravel or maybe make a guess log to see whether you implicate yourself. That is fishing expedition. And also profiling Nigerian youth. These things are fishing expedition. And also judging you based on stereotype. All these things are fishing expeditions. Okay. Now, fishing expedition is wrong. It's an abuse of searches in Nigeria. If fishing expedition can be just drastically reduced by the Nigerian police officers, then we will talk about the professionalism in the Nigerian police today. Okay, at least if it stops drastically, that means your phone won't be searched at any day you are traveling. Your items and bags may not even be necessarily searched. It means that Nigerian police have already improved in a lot of things, because this is one of the things that keep on making Nigerian police administration kind of like a shaky something. So I advise Nigerian police officer who is watching this to avoid fishing expedition as much as you can. Get things professionally. Ask questions before you can search, whether it's necessary for you to search or not. It's always based on information or directive by your command that a particular car is being stolen. So please find any Lexus 360 that passes along Oka Highway. Okay, this is your stop, this is your target, right? But you can't stop Benz, you can't stop Toyota, you can't stop Lamborghini and the rest of them in search of Lexus 360. So you need to, even if you are going to stop, you stop every model of Lexus 360. That is you searching without fishing expedition. Now let's get to why the Nigerian police officer and why searches are being abused in Nigeria today. Now, there are various reasons Nigerian police officers and other security agencies abuse search on Nigerian citizens, which I'll mention but few, right? Number one is lack of professionalism and education in the police system. So I have checked from the previous administration down to this administration that the education is not, and the sensitization is not sufficient enough for a common police officer who may not have gone through a university level and he became a police officer. So these things are things that he may not even know, but you just feel like his colleague is doing it, and I think this is the normal norm, right? They go ahead and oppress Nigerian citizens and abuse constitutional rights and also even court processes at this particular point. Then number two is Nigerian citizens showing power tussle. You feel like you have power, you want to oppress your next neighbor, and then you use Nigerian police as a tool of oppression because you have the money, you can take whoever you're going to take. Nigerian society, that is civilians fighting civilians. That is where Nigerian searches are being abused by the enforcement agencies. It may not even be Nigerian police. Somebody may even pay EFCC to go and visit this person. And the EFCC will just suffer that person for over 2, 3, 4 years, 10 years, maybe because there is somebody bankrolling the EFCC. I'm just saying, for instance, yeah, it is bad. We should all respect ourselves. If we have issues with each other, go ahead and go to court directly and seek justice. It's a very simple something. You don't really need to show power because you feel like you have the money. So these are ways you abuse the searches in Nigeria and other kind of fundamental human rights in Nigeria. Then the number 3 point is you that is watching this video. You are also the cause why searches are being abused in Nigeria, because you don't know these laws and you don't sit down to know them, and you may not even go further to educate and enlighten yourself on these rights. Most Nigerian citizens do not care to know their rights so long as they're able to go to this place and pass that particular level, that particular bridge. They're okay with it. Okay, and then when they get that same experience, they'll use the same procedure they used that worked for them. If it is money that they use to sort themselves out, they'll use the same money and sort themselves out. Okay, there are some things you need to know as a Nigerians. Go and read your laws, those basic funds, those basic foundations that Nigerian lawyer doesn't really need to tell you to know. These are the things you just have to know. So learn these things and know that this is what you ought to do, and know when to demand for professionalism and professional conduct from the Nigerian police officers during search and other security agencies. Then other points is loopholes, where Nigerian police officers knows the loopholes of the law, and then they feed on that loopholes. Okay, maybe for instance, this instance I gave, the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, whereby they said there is no time frame on the act. Okay, it's just any day at what, any time. Any day, there's no time. Okay, now most law enforcement agency will get to that loophole on that federal law and search anytime, any day. They will refer it to the federal law. Meanwhile, state law says 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. But these individuals say, but the federal law says this. These are legal loopholes, legislative loopholes. And Nigerian police officer tends to use it to abuse searches and also abuse the constitutional process. I hope I'm not talking too much. And, I'm speaking from heart so that you can be able to understand me, and also nourish your consciousness, and also to share it to the next person whenever any argument ensues with you or the Nigerian police or somebody that your friends. Okay. Then lastly, Nigerian police officers and the Nigerian police administrations profiling Nigerian youths as Yahoo boys, as fraudsters. That is where searches automatically are being abused. If you see a Nigerian male person or female person, young guy, automatically, especially if he drives a car, you automatically say, this guy, MAGA. That is wrong. Searches are being abused at that point. Okay, these are the problems. If Nigerian police officers and Nigerian police system can be able to educate and enlighten its officers, not just a 1 month program or 1 day in a year program. There are other means. The same way you use Facebook, a comedy, there should be a comedy skit for specialized for the Nigerian police officers to learn 1 or 2 things from. There could be a short play that every Nigerian police officer should listen to. There should be little things that could, nourish the consciousness of every Nigerian police officer in the country. You understand? So if there is enough sensitization and sufficient sensitization for Nigerian police officer not to profile every Nigerian youth as a fraudster, automatically this abuse of searches will not, in fact, will cease to exist at some point. Okay? Now, what is the way forward? Just like the problems, we could find a solution there, where the Nigerian judiciary start rejecting evidences that emanated from unlawful search. At least if the Nigerian judge does that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, the Nigerian police officer will wake up and do a due process and also do a due diligence during his functions. Then number 2 is sufficient police academy. Not just police academy, official police academy. There can be an informal police academy, just like I mentioned. Skits, use the media and educate your Nigerian police officers. There's some special little things they will just know. Maybe in a music, maybe in a play, maybe in a lot of them. Just sensitization. The next one is sufficient training program and salary for Nigerian police officers, because when somebody has been paid well, and also his accommodation or where he lives is good, what's the essence of the Nigerian police officer profiling? So we're also fighting for the Nigerian police so that they can get good welfare from Nigerian government. These are ways, and a lot of ways, and Nigerian citizen, to learn your laws, to learn little things. You don't really need to go in depth like for lawyers like us, okay? But you can, learn 1 or 2 from the Constitution, just the basic thing, or some of the little things they talk about. Go ahead and nourish your brain with these things, okay? I believe that I have mentioned a whole lot of things in this video, and I didn't want this video to reach 1 hour. I don't know how many hours I spent here. I don't know whether I spent 15 or 14 minutes, but I hope I have talked to you about the powers of the Nigerian police and other security agencies to conduct search. So if the Nigerian police and other security agencies can get it right with regards to this constitutional right that we have, then of course Nigeria will be a very better place. And you remember, Nigeria we need is here to get things right, to inform you, to cure your deficiency from these laws, at least to shine up. Tomorrow, if you go out there, you're a better person than you are today because you've learned one or two things here, okay? I hope I'm not here and I've not confused you at this point, and I hope you will not take me to court as I said earlier anyway. I hope you've learned something. And remember, my name is still Shedrack of the Naija we need. And yes, also, there is a program that we're meant to commence next year, that is 2026, and we're looking for sponsorship for more sensitization programs offline, on radio stations, on schools, police stations, and also we're trying to get pro bono cases and the rest of them on correctional centers. Please, if you're going to help us sponsor one of our programs, please reach out to us on our email or any of our social media handles. We'll be very glad to welcome you and also recognize you. And that is it for today for Searches, and I hope I really did something nice. The Nigeria we need is always the Nigeria that obeys the rule of law, and the rule of law obeys the Nigerian citizen. So it's a two-way thing. So I believe in Nigeria, and I believe you believe in Nigeria too. God bless Nigeria. And have a very, very wonderful day. Bye-bye.